Hey there, thank you so much for being with me again on my platform. Janet Mbugua here, and I am at White Sands Hotel for the AYSRHR annual conference with RHNK, the seventh one. And this is being produced and filmed by Dencast Global. So I'm so excited to be here. I love the coast. It's something that's always been very close to my heart. But even more important is why we're here this time for a youth-led conference. But what I really want to find out from these incredible young people I have with me is it really youth-led? Do they feel like they are just kind of placed as side people, or are they actually leading the agenda on SRHR? So I am joined by Mercy. I'm joined by Joshua. I'm joined by Joy. I'm joined by Lucas and Josephine. And how are you guys doing? All good? I'm going to ask a few questions around some pressing issues, not just SRHR, but what the country is really talking about right now, which is the power of Gen Z. So I'm going to start with you, Josephine, and let's talk about youth-led, youth-centered. Do you feel as though a lot of these spaces are youth-led or youth-centered? And if not, what more do you feel needs to be done to actually allow young people to lead on the agenda of issues that affect them?
I think when it comes to youth-led, youth-centered, those are very big words that the older folks tend to throw around, but it does not necessarily reflect within the different spaces. For example, they'll say, we've set up a lot of youth-led spaces. We have a youth advisory panel. We have a youth sounding board. But then when you speak to those youth in terms of like, how does this look like? They're like, we've just been placed there strategically. In terms of decision-making power, we don't have. You'd want to do something, but the bureaucracy of you actually implementing what you want, it's so much that you end up just saying, we'll allow them to do as they please. We'll just, when they tell us to do something, we will do something. So when it comes to things being youth-centered, on paper, yes. In practice, no.
That's really well summarized. Maybe we'll hear from Lucas. So Josephine has said something that I feel like I've heard from a lot of people. So what do you think then needs to be done to make sure that we do away with the bureaucracy? How can we actually make spaces youth-centered, youth-led?
I think from my side, I can say youths, they must be given spaces so much. I think nowadays you can say the men are so degraded. They are not just included in the community or in the spaces. So I think we can just include so many on the spaces and give them voices, just not giving them spaces, even giving them spaces and even supporting them on the spaces.
Don't just give them spaces, give them voices.
Yeah,
that's really well said. Do you feel the same way, Joy, just in terms of when he says give them voices? She's talked about bureaucracy, he's talked about agency. What's the other missing factor when it comes to making sure that young people are at the front and center of addressing issues that affect them?
I feel like we need to work on the perspective of the senior generation. Like, it's one to say, like, we're giving you spaces, but if the perception is not changed, they'll still give you spaces and just not give you an opportunity to speak up. So let's give the senior generation a chance to change their mind. Like, the youth have great ideas.
So it's a mindset. You guys feel like a lot of the time older generations either don't take you seriously, or when you say change their perception, what do they need to change about the way they see young people?
When I say change the perception, the times are changing and the younger generations are keeping up with it. So by sharing our ideas with them and them listening to us, it helps keep them up to the times, at the same time keeps growing.
Okay, that's a good one. Let's turn to you as well, Joshua. And again, speaking in the power of young people, SRHR is a huge conversation: sex, sexual reproductive health and rights. We've talked about youth. It's important to keep young people front and center. How can we also make it easier and more inclusive for young people to talk openly and freely about their sexual reproductive health and rights? How can we make you guys more comfortable to be like right now we are surrounded by, contraceptives, I suppose, condoms, and this is the youth cafe, which I love. Do you feel like you find it easy to talk about sex and sexual reproductive health and rights, or do you find like in these conferences you still feel some type of way about talking about sex and reproductive health and rights?
I would say that saying sexual and reproductive health is very much easy just to discuss out, but when it gets into the in-depth critical areas like family planning, the contraceptives, it becomes a very difficult thing to have a talk with. And literally, from where we sit, we have that peer-to-peer conversations. However, our parents might not really think so, because if a young person today is taking condoms, then what does that reflect to a parent or an older person? It says that you are having sex, you are engaging in, you are having multiple partners. So that is the perceptions that sometimes we undergo as young people. But the reality is, it's very important that we start having a conversation. For every parent, they need to start having a conversation in terms of raising out the sexual health and rights messages, so that we can boldly say, this is my choice, this is my decision. Just as we are told about other things in education, in terms of performance, we also need time to sit with our older generation, just to tell us that the generation is moving out. This is what we want for our sexuality. Yeah.
That's really well said. To understand that it's about choice and to let parents know that they also have some kind of responsibility to talk to younger people. But do you, Mercy, feel as though parents are ready to listen? Because I know, I mean, I can even speak to me, not that I'm 90, but the point is, I don't think I had my parents talk to me about sex and sexuality. Now, as a mom, I'm trying to figure out how to talk to my sons about it. And I know with my older son, I'm almost there. So we've had to have that conversation with the dad, like, listen, on his next birthday, as a birthday present, we're also going to talk to him about reproductive health and rights. How do you think parents can feel comfortable and more confident? Or what do we need to do to make parents feel comfortable and confident about talking to younger people about sex, sexual reproductive health and rights, and even family planning?
Thank you. I think we need to normalize the talk. It's time we get into action. A lot of time we're having the conversation, but not with our adolescents, not with our young people. As parents, with your age mates, you'll be discussing it, but you don't take an action to actually actualize what you say. You don't guide your young girls on what is menstruation. You don't tell them how normal is it. How am I supposed to go about it? So I think it's time we actually actualize a lot of what that we have been saying. And it's so bad talking about, we have almost 1,000 and 1,100 youth-centered infrastructures in both public and private sectors, but the places are not youth. They're not youth-centered. I'll go there as an adolescent seeking to get information on sexuality, health, education, and the person that I'm getting there is my aunt. Of course, I won't be as comfortable because I know this person is going to share with my mom, and I don't want that stigma because it is always termed, so you've started having sex. Like, it is so bad. There are a lot of myths, and it's not just comfortable when, as an adolescent or a young person, I want a safe space, but I don't get it from my immediate parent. So there's still a lot that needs to be done. We need to get comfortable as parents to start talking the talk, and it's going to be nice if we get comfortable and actually tell them, we call a spade a spade.
Yeah. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, I think sometimes, yeah.
I think when we were at the youth caravan, when we were coming to Mombasa and we were doing condom demonstrations in one day, and I had carried condoms at the PNL model. And I was trying to explain to this man, and the man just outrightly looked at me in the face and said, "You are like my daughter. I'm not comfortable with you showing me this thing." And it was an older man. So we had to get somebody he felt comfortable with. That because I'm very small, how I'm built. So he didn't feel comfortable. He's like, why is my daughter talking to me about sex? So we had to get somebody older, somebody he was comfortable with, to explain that to him. So sometimes our parents are not comfortable having these conversations, but then they need to be open to getting people who can actually talk to us. If you're not comfortable talking to your child about issues of sexuality and sex, get somebody who's comfortable and informed to talk to them. We are not forcing things down your throat. If it's not your cup of tea, get somebody else to do it. But let your young people have information.
Let them have information, because I think censorship is so dangerous, and there's a huge push to not have the information come out to younger people, which I think oftentimes it's at the end of the day, in the long run, it's a lot more dangerous. But when you have information, then you have choice. And when you have choice, you have agency. So that's really well said. And I think training, you've raised an interesting point. It's, even though it's youth-centered and youth-led, because we need to collaborate with our parents and teachers and adults, we also need sort of like older champions who understand young people. I think that's something that could work. In the same line, I want to talk about what the country is talking about right now. They've immediately started laughing. They're like, yeah, we always told you, we're here, Gen Z are here. You're not always on your phones, and you're not always trying to be like, I don't want to go to work today. I feel like, personally, I'm witnessing something that we last saw maybe in the 90s. I feel like in the 90s, when I was pretty young, that was the time things like the Beijing conference took place. There was almost like a revolution, even politically, if we're to be honest. And then I don't think we've seen something like that until now. And maybe that's why y'all are like the stars of the show. Yeah. So as Gen Z, the perception is very bold, very fearless, very unafraid. Is that always true? Or sometimes are you saying, no, we're going with our gut feeling that we want change, but we still feel either insecure or afraid or challenged? Take us through the minds of Gen Z right now when it comes to taking back power and pushing for the change because you don't want things to stay as they are.
I think there's always that nerve-wracking feeling of, I know they will not take me seriously. I know, I'm very sure they will not take me seriously. But then at the end of the day, we just have to do it because we are the ones who will suffer. And again, there's this perception of Gen Z of, we don't like to go to work. We don't like getting exhausted. We just want to chill and vibe, which is good. Chilling and vibe is not a bad thing. However, when we are needed to do something about it, we will do something about it. I think for a very long time, we've been saying young people have power, there's power in voice, youths are like this. But then this time is when we were like, things need to shift. Because I'm seeing conversations, guys are like, the next general elections, we will hide our parents' IDs. We are the ones who will vote. They will not take us back again. So I think it's important for us to allow young people to be young people. I think when you give us room to share and be who we are, there is a lot that they can actually learn from us.
Really well said. Let's go around and get your thoughts. Lucas, how do you feel?
I think to my side, I think it's just a good way of to what the youth are feeling or what youth are presenting to the economy towards. I think we can say it's a good way and youth, they can present something which is so unique, so innovative. And now we have so youths who have been able to innovate some of the chat GDP things, innovation ideas, which they can present ideas. And the unique thing, we make money through that thing. And what you have said, we are so unique, you are so innovative. And that's good. And even the self-care issue. Some of the youth have been able to present some things of self-care.
Really well said. As I reflect on that, yes, self-care. Y'all are very about your self-care, which is really, and innovation. So those are really good examples of how young people have created a unique space for themselves. For you, Joy, as a young person, are you feeling the wave of power that you all have, or do you still feel like there's room to be guided more or to try and figure out what the bigger picture is?
Okay, first I will start by saying, as a generation, I feel we've grown up seeing that unless you do something about it, you'll just end up being, for lack of a better word, let me say, persecuted, and yet you can speak up and do something about it. So I feel like, okay, yes, we have our seniors and they can give us their ideas. We don't mind listening to them. We do actually listen, but let them also listen to us so that as we share information, we can make this transition smooth and keep building each other as a nation.
Yeah. I like that. As we listen, we also ask you guys to listen to us. Really well said. Joshua, how are you feeling about this wave of, just the same question I've asked, of Gen Z being front and center right now, especially in the light of the Reject the Finance Bill? How are you feeling about what you're seeing? And are you all going to back down, or is it like, listen, we are here to stay?
I'll rather one say that we are the largest population of this country, over 70% of us. And looking at the power, we are told the power forming the government is within us and lies within us. We went for elections. We gave you that power to really take over the leadership. But now we feel you are not taking responsibility of the power, which our constitution still give us that sovereignty to come and tell you, you're not doing the right way. It's not going to end when the generations keep saying in time to walk until we are not happy. We can still take back the power. We don't want to be part of the menu. We want to be in the table. So it means if that table, you are not talking about the table, we come for the table. So that's our generation. And I believe this generation can make the change that we want. We are change agents. And that's the fact for us. It's time for us just to remind them what we are doing in the countries, just remind them that we gave you some power, but we don't want you to misuse that power. It still belongs to us.
Really well said. We are change agents. Mercy, what more can we do? Those of us who are standing by and watching Gen Z in this really powerful state, but what more can we do to support Gen Z? What do you ask of other generations when it comes to the power that Gen Z is showing? What more can we do to support it and to understand it?
Well, let me start with this is not just a wave. This is not a wave. We are here to stay. We are here to voice out our voices. We are here for change. And it's actually nice. I love how bold we are. I love how courageous we are. And I also love the fact that how as Gen Zs, we stand with each other. On Tuesday, people went and some of them were taken behind bars, and it was so amazing that within few hours, we as our fellow friends, or we just went and bailed them out. It's because we are united. So for millennials or even the rest of the people, what you can do for us is support us. We need your support. We're in this fight together, because at the end of the day, there's no discrimination or who is going to suffer the most. And another thing I like about Gen Z is that we're informed. In the past years, people used to not maybe get into detail about the finance bill or maybe other bills that were there. People were silent, or let me say maybe they never understood the complexities of it. But it's so nice because we're informed. It is so painful because there are a lot of Gen Zs that have degrees, but we're jobless. So seeing the little we have being taken away is actually painful. It's painful. And we are here not to just make noises and leave. We are here to stay. We're here to change the nation.
You're here to make a mark.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. This is the kind of conversation we could have all day. I think there's a lot more that's within you that we need to hear more about. So hopefully we get to a place where the spaces that are supposed to be youth-led really become youth-led and supported by a lot of the other generations and demographics. Thank you for your power. I pray you continue to understand it and tap into it, and that the rest of us are able to guide you and support you. So thank you so much for being part of this conversation. Awesome. And thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I think you've heard it really well. It's not a wave. They're saying that we're here to stay. And this is essentially, I believe, the beginning of a new era. And so instead of being bystanders, I believe we just need to be inclusive and included and a part of the new era of boldness, unapologetic efforts, and also just change, the change that we need to see and that we deserve. Thank you for watching. I'm Janet Mbugua. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.